Howdy, folks, and welcome to Tea Lokes. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. My good friends at Wonderbird Press are doing a Kickstarter for the third book in the Unhelpful Encyclopedia series, Murderfish. So we are going to do a small preview for that book today in conjunction with my other podcast, Connor Reads Books. So we're going to take a small break from the business talk this week, but we will be right back at it in another couple weeks. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. Connor Reads Books is an audiobook podcast primarily intended for adults. That being the case, some things I read may not be perfect for all ages or all listeners. Please take a look in the episode notes for content warnings and listen with care. Howdy, listener. My name's Connor, and I'm a voiceover artist. This is Connor Reads Books, an audiobook podcast where I read short stories from the public domain or short stories that I've been given permission to read by authors or publishers. If you like the stories I perform, please leave a review on whatever podcast player you're using. Or if you're an author who wants to get your short story read, find my contact info in the episode notes. Now, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome back to Connor Reads Books. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm super excited to share this episode with you. So today I am reading Real Food by Jake Stein. Now, this particular short story is coming from Murderfish, the third book in the Unhelpful Encyclopedia series, published by Wonderbird Press. So if you've listened to this podcast, you may be familiar with Wonderbird Press. I have 2 other episodes featuring short stories from the 2 previous books. Now, what makes this particular episode so unique is that Murderfish has not yet been published. Now, Murderfish is in its Kickstarter phase, so this right here is a promotional preview for Murderfish. So check it out. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, go ahead to the episode notes where you'll find a link to back the Murderfish Kickstarter and make this book and audiobook happen. I have talked enough. It's time for me to read you a story. Real Food by Jake Stein. Out of all the planets, Earth is probably my least favorite. So it figures this is where I'd get stuck. The cradle of humanity. The breadbasket of the colonies. The biggest piece of overheated plastic-wrapped garbage to ever orbit a star. Earth is the only place in the universe where you can still order a hamburger with real beef, even though it tastes worse than the synthetic stuff. By now, most of our species has been shipped off-planet to occupy a host of other terraformed rocks and space stations, leaving Earth mostly for the rich. And then there's people like me. The few, the proud, the dishonorably discharged. I got dropped here like it was some sort of compromise after 10 years as a military chef for the Interplanetary Marines. Like it's a privilege to spend my days cooking for secretary generals and spoiled CEOs, one of whom I'm currently waiting to meet, sitting in a foyer that's about 10 times the square footage of my entire apartment, on a bench that's twice the size of my bed. As I open my backpack to double-check the contents of my mobile kitchen, because I don't make house calls without everything I need to whip up a 5-star meal, the echo of footsteps gets my attention. A woman approaches from a hallway, her face politely grim. Judging by the black suit and earpiece, she's on my client's household security team, which means there's a gun lurking somewhere under that expensive wool. Her first greeting sounds like some kind of Outer Rim patois. I shake my head, and she tries again in Earth English. "Mr. Karn is ready for you." I follow her out of the foyer, noting the bilingualism. Not every security guard speaks multiple languages. The hardwood floor creaks beneath our feet. Real wood, another thing you'll only find on Earth. The hallway is wide enough to fit 7 or 8 people abreast, and hung with Rothkos and Rembrandts. Probably originals with astronomical price tags. I can't fault Mr. Karn's taste. If I never get off Earth, owning one of these pieces would be the next best thing. Belfajar's feast could really open up the view of my windowless apartment. The guard ushers me into a dark room. The door shuts behind us with a quiet click. "You're Chef Viverio, I presume," says a man's voice in the darkness. I clear my throat. My friends just call me V. You can too if you'd like. "All right, V, but I sincerely hope you don't consider me a friend." At the far end of the room, a hologram ignites in the shape of a fish. An alien fish, to be exact. I recognize the creature from my time spent on a portal world during my last tour as a Marine. A crown of too many dorsal fins combines with grass-like clumps of antennae below the gills, while slender barbels surround an upturned mouth, culminating in a beautiful, unearthly anatomy. The three-dimensional image slowly rotates on display, casting its soft blue light upon the man standing next to the holoprojector. His hair is pulled back in a ponytail, exposing a widow's peak sharp enough to draw blood. With squinting eyes, he regards me like a page in a book with too small of font. "You're familiar with this particular aquatic life form, aren't you, V?" I can already see where this is going. "You did some homework on me?" "My assistants did." Mr. Patrick Karn, CEO of Real Foods, Inc., steps forward without offering to shake my hand. "Surely you know who I am?" I know it's weird that the face of the largest intergalactic meat distributor has hired a vegan chef to cook him a private meal. I take off my backpack, and, with no small degree of hesitancy, begin unpacking my state-of-the-art equipment. A foldable table, a battery-powered grill, a laser knife and spatula, and a handful of vacuum-sealed ingredients. You do realize I only serve plant-based dishes, right? "I'm aware you haven't cooked anything with a nervous system since, well..." Mr. Karn gestures at the fish hologram. The stalks of its many strange antennae sway easily in an invisible current. There's something rather mammalian, almost even human, about its scaleless skin. "Since your squad reeled in a couple of these aliens, and you refused to fry them up. That was your last posting, before you got sent to Earth with your tail between your legs." I stop setting up my stuff. "I don't have a tail, Mr. Karn, unlike most of the species your company slaughters." His reaction isn't what I expected. His mouth broadens in a sad smile, exposing pearly white incisors. Those teeth belong on a predator, but that expression is full of regret. "Please, take a seat. Cooking will not be necessary. I don't have much of an appetite these days." I sink into an antique armchair, which is admittedly more comfortable than the massive bench in the foyer, even though the real leather upholstery bugs me. "If you're not hungry, mind telling me why I'm here? Based on your earlier comment, I'm guessing you aren't exactly hoping to strike up a friendship." "In fact, I'm counting on you hating me." He waves his hand, commanding the projector to enlarge the image of the fish with antennae. The hologram swells and brightens, throwing shadows across half of Karn's face, while the other half glows with frosty luminescence. "Do you have any idea how many of these fish my corporation has harvested over the years?" By harvested, do you mean suffocated and clubbed to death? I give an exaggerated shrug. "Probably as many as the cows and pigs and all the other species you've nearly driven to extinction?" From the darkness behind me, the security guard clears her throat. Karn exchanges an indecipherable look with her, and she shifts closer. I can't help wondering what kind of firearm she's packing. Resuming his sad lion smile, Karn says to me, "You've been making quite a splash in the private chef industry." Suddenly, it clicks. I see what this is. I've been cutting into your meat market with my plant-based options, right? You're afraid I'm bringing down your sales by showing your wealthy consumers that a gourmet meal doesn't have to include flesh. So you brought me here to... what? Intimidate me? Karn walks over to a large bookcase, where he wistfully runs his hand across dozens of leather-bound spines. I've never seen so many books in my life. Real books, that is, with paper and ink. "Oh, V," he muses. You're just like every other vegan, judgmental and quick to assumptions. But I suppose I can't fault you for taking me for a thug. Oddly, his tone conveys no menace, only sadness. I steal another glance at the woman behind me, standing at parade rest in the shadows. Just tell me why I'm here. No miscommunication. Funny you should mention communication. Karn pulls a book off the shelf and starts flipping through its pages. There's no cloud of dust, which means he actually reads these relics from time to time. I've always considered language to be the barometer for sapience in any given species. To articulate is perhaps the greatest tool of all. Orcas, elephants, apes, I've never farmed any of these animals. If you want a pat on the back, you've called the wrong person. Karn chuckles weakly. Quite the opposite, I assure you. He puts the old book back on the shelf with a heavy sigh. What I'm about to tell you is sensitive information. There are significant forces attempting to silence a recent finding in the scientific community. But having access to higher channels, I've been made privy to the discovery. He waves at the hologram again, and the fish's antennae begin to light up in distinct patterns. Even its mouth whiskers are flashing. I remember seeing them flicker like this all the time, I say. From a patrol boat, the fish would look like flashbulbs going off beneath the surface of the water. So, what's the discovery? It's a complicated system of electrical pulses, Karn explains. At first, marine biologists assumed this bioluminescence served only basic evolutionary functions, such as attracting mates or prey. But now experts have concluded that these glowing antennae are rather more sophisticated than, for instance, those found on the deep-sea anglerfish of Earth. Using patterns of light, these aliens are capable of communicating, telling stories, teaching each other, having in-depth discussions. Proof of metacognitive processes, such as mental time travel and self-reflection, what some scientists call magical thinking. Karn regards the alien fish with an expression that could only be described as wistful, then turns away with a shuddering breath. They've developed perhaps the most advanced visual language of non-human origin. It seems we have vastly underestimated the social intelligence of this creature, which, for about a decade, my company has been exporting in the form of fish sticks and high-end sashimi. I blink a few times, mesmerized by the hologram's light show. That is quite a discovery. But just because these fish have a language doesn't mean they're the only animals that feel pain and suffering. All those beef products you sell were attached to brains at some point, too. Karn clicks his tongue impatiently. I'm not talking about your moral standards. I'm talking about mine. I don't believe cows are people. I simply do not. Dolphins, on the other hand, call each other by name. Consequently, Real Food Inc. has never harvested dolphins. But all the while, we've been massacring this smarter being. Karn leans against his shelf for support. How many millions of bright minds have I closed the book on? Let me get this straight. Just because these flashing fish are smarter than other creatures you farm, you feel bad all of a sudden? Karn claps twice, instructing a window on the far wall to remove its blinds. In the emerging light, tears shimmer on his cheeks. It's not that I feel bad, V. It's that I am bad. Bad beyond redemption. Now I'm laughing. I can't help myself. This all strikes me as overcooked. If you're not hungry, and you're also not going to kill me, then why am I here? Karn turns toward the window. A 9-hole golf course sprawls in the distance, complete with rolling hills and sand pits, surrounded by a groomed forest, or a convincing hologram of one. I can make your wishes come true, V. I know you don't have the life you want here on Earth. Well, I can set you up on Amaterasu Beach on New Honolulu. Or, have you heard about Paradise Station orbiting Venus? Vacation destination of the galaxy, they call it. I can purchase a luxury suite in your name. You still haven't answered my question. Isn't it obvious why you're here? I'm not threatening you. On the contrary. The security guard appears beside me and draws her sidearm. But she doesn't point the gun at me. Rather, she offers it to me. And finally, it all makes sense. With my vegan business and my history in the military, you're seriously asking me to shoot you? I'm not laughing anymore, and I'm not taking that gun either. Suicide isn't an option for me, I'm afraid. While I'm very wealthy, I also have many, shall we say, adversaries. Powerful people who can pull certain strings to confiscate my assets in the event of my death, leaving nothing for those I care about. Karn gazes out across his manicured grounds with a trembling frown. However, if I am murdered, a special insurance plan kicks in. Wait, back up. You really want to die? Mr. Karn remains facing the window. Just imagine the public's reaction when this discovery sees the light. When it is known far and wide that I'm a mass murderer of intelligent beings. No, I don't want to live as that villain. I don't want to live with this pain. He says the word like he's never experienced it before. I step away from the woman with the gun. Can't you just get your pal here to do it? You might find this hard to believe, but I treat my employees like family, and I don't want my family to have my blood on their hands. You, though, I was banking on your disgust for me. I can reward you with your wildest dreams, and guarantee the murder won't be traced to you. Karn makes a choking noise which might be a sob. He's genuinely desperate. What if I promise to auction my entire hallway to an art museum, and donate the proceeds to charities of your choice? Just imagine never having to cook for rich snobs like me again. Never having to work, period, for the rest of your life. Wouldn't that be nice? The security guard inches closer, still offering her pistol. I'll admit, deep down, it's tempting. I don't know anything about Paradise Station, but it's got to beat my shoebox of an apartment. All I have to do is... But no, I left the military for a reason. I don't want to kill animals, including humans. Mr. Karn glares at me with teary-eyed fury. If you're so holier than thou, you'll do humanity a service by getting rid of a monster like me. He's trying to provoke me. He simply won't give up on, well, giving up. But my response is calm. There's nothing holy in this universe except good food of the guiltless variety. Speaking of which, still eschewing the offered firearm, I begin setting up my mini kitchen again. If you can't recognize everything you have to live for, this mansion, for instance, then you need medication, Mr. Karn. In the meantime, I may not be a doctor, but I can provide you with a different kind of remedy. A bean burger sizzles beneath my spatula. A salty, strong aroma fills the room. Karn doesn't seem to notice. 10 billion! He spits out the number as if it were poison. That's how many of these fish, these storytellers, these people, my company has slaughtered. He waves violently at the blue fish floating above the holoprojector. We've committed genocide. It's time to flip the patty, but I hesitate. Karn's words are sinking in. All I'm thinking is, those fish can talk. Without really meaning to, I've put down my spatula and taken the gun. Oh crap, I've taken the gun. Immediately I want to give it back, but no, on the other hand, I don't. The familiar weight of a weapon? It's been a while, and this sense of power, of control, feels amazing. The crying billionaire is watching me with a hopeful expression, begging for it. The security guard turns away. She won't watch, because now I'm flicking the safety off, pointing the gun at Mr. Patrick Karn. At this point, I'm almost willing to shoot him just to get him to shut up. He closes his eyes, whispers, I deserve it. I almost gag. This is too messed up. Like snapping out of a dream, I switch the gun's safety back on and drop it on the chair. Your death isn't going to help anything, Karn. First off, find a psychiatrist. I'm serious. Then start helping people. It's not too late to turn your life around. Stop killing animals that tell stories, along with the animals that don't. Invest your fortune into making Earth a better place. I leave him weeping in that dark room, finding my own way out through the expansive hallway. I'd like to think some of Karn's tears are for joy, thanks to the burger I left him. But I'll never know if he takes a bite. Let's just say, I don't plan on staying in touch. And if I never hear from him again, I'm going to hope it's because he's taken my advice and found the guts to change his life rather than end it. So, I'm still stuck on Earth. No Paradise Station. But maybe one day I'll be able to afford a window. In the meantime, I've got an original Rembrandt hanging on my wall, which really opens up the apartment. The end. This has been Real Food, written by Jake Stein, performed by Connor McEverly, a sample chapter for the Kickstarter Murderfish, Book 3 of the Unhelpful Encyclopedia, published by Wonderbird Press, produced by Wonderbird Press in association with L. Connor Voice, LLC. Hey folks, welcome back, and thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you enjoyed the story, and if you did, I would really encourage you to check out the episode notes, go to the Kickstarter link, and back the Murderfish Kickstarter. There are a lot of great authors with some awesome stories to share, and we would just love to make this book and audiobook happen. And if you liked this story, you want to hear more Unhelpful Encyclopedia, check out the other audiobooks and the other episodes of Connor Reads Books. If you just want to, wet your beak, so to speak, there are links for those in the episode notes, so go ahead and check those out, and happy listening. Thank you all so much for listening. Again, if you like this episode, please leave a review. It takes a couple moments, but it really goes a long way and helps other people find this show as well. Also, you can follow me on my social medias. I'm more active on Instagram. You can find me at lconnorvoice. And I'll put links to my Instagram in the show notes as well, so you can go ahead and check those out and get in contact with me if you want to see some more of the content that I'm creating. Well, with that all being said, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I'm really excited to bring you more short stories and a lot more fun as this year continues. And until next we turn the page, toodaloo.